Hey there, this is Tay from Didn't Really Need This, here to talk about something I did not really need. And today, what I didn't really need was a brand new phone. This is the Samsung S24 Ultra, which I pre-ordered and received a couple days ago. So I think the official release date is 1/31, but the people who ordered them have them in their hands, and some people have had them even longer. Heads up, I did not receive this for free. This is not sponsored. I paid for this with my own money. I just wanted it. It was time for me to get a new phone, and so I wanted something a little bit nicer than what I already had, which what I already had, just so you have a reference, was a OnePlus 10 Pro. And there are a lot of things that I like differently and better about the Samsung S24 Ultra, but mostly I want to talk about what things I think people will find helpful when they are trying to consider if they want to buy this phone. And there are a lot of things going around on the internet right now, so I'm going to try to address a couple of those, but then also things that I just thought would be helpful for me if I hadn't already purchased it. And one of those is the color. This is an exclusive to the website. It's their green color. And I wasn't sure what it was going to look like actually in hand because I feel like promotional photos never do a very good job of accurately representing color. And so this is what it looks like. It's pretty pale. It's paler, I think, than I had expected it to be. Um, so, but that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that inherently. And I think it's really nice. It's a very pretty pastel. It's like pistachio color, I think. And then the logo, which I had mentioned, I'd seen some people mention that they felt like it was weird. You couldn't see it through the case. You're not going to see the logo through the case. You're not going to, because this surface is matte. The logo is printed with something that makes it gloss, and that's it. Otherwise, it's completely see-through. You will not see the logo. So, not that that matters, I think, for most people, but I saw someone mention it, and I thought it was interesting thing. So I thought I would throw it out there. One of the biggest things that I am seeing get mentioned when people are trying to decide if they want to use this phone is how they feel about the screen, and some people feel like it's washed out. So just for a frame of reference, I wish I had a Samsung to compare it with, but I don't. But that's okay. So I have my S24 Ultra, and then I have my OnePlus 10 Pro. I am going to pull up the same video on both phones. This is the brightness all the way up at the top. It's really hard to see the color because the exposure ends up being really weird on the camera. So I'm going to turn the brightness down, but they're both doing it. So hopefully, that reassures you that that's just normal behavior. And I chose a random video that just had color to it because I felt like that would be a good way to show whether it's washed out or not. Okay, so both are at about 50-ish% right now. This is the Ultra or the Pro, OnePlus 10 Pro, and then this is the Samsung. And you can see that there is a difference, at least in this screen, of white balance. To the naked eye, it's very minor. It's definitely being compounded with my video camera, but there is a tiny white balance difference, and that I would say is probably related to the setting that is on here that can adjust your colors based on your ambient light, and the OnePlus doesn't have that feature, or if it does, it's not enabled because I've never turned that on. But the actual vibrancy is not particularly an issue. Oh, I turned this one down. Okay. So 50%. Let me make sure this one's still 50% because I touched it with my hand. Okay. So I don't see a vibrancy issue. I don't see a brightness issue or a color saturation issue that I've seen other people mention. So if they're having that problem, maybe it's a defect thing, maybe it's a software thing. I know some people have mentioned that there's probably going to be a release date update coming that will fix that. I'm just saying I haven't had an issue with it in my personal experience. The other thing, or one of the other things that I think is notable, which I didn't notice about this phone until someone mentioned it to me, was the anti-reflectiveness on it. So this is the OnePlus, and you can see it's very, very reflective, like super duper reflective. The Samsung is still reflective. It's not reflecting nothing. It's not fully matte, but it's much better. It's like the difference is night and day. And the fact of the matter is, which is really nice, is that this doesn't have that weird matte feeling that you see on like a tablet that might have like a paper feel cover to it or something like that, where you can see that it's going to be matte and you can touch it and it's got like a texture. This doesn't have any of that. This feels like a very regular screen that just happens to have less reflection, which is super nice. Also, it's a flat screen and not a curved screen, which I didn't realize how much I missed. I like my OnePlus, but I think if I had to pick between flat and rounded, I would pick flat. It just feels right. It feels better. I think it looks better. I think it looks nicer. I feel like you get a more immersive screen. So just overall, I like it. I like it better. Sorry. The brightness, this sounds really silly. So on the note of brightness, I think that the lowest brightness setting that is available on this phone is so much better, far and away better than the OnePlus. It's wild. And I say that as like as a person who spends too much time in bed and spends too much time on their phone and happens to have a partner who sleeps in the same bed as them. This is the OnePlus on its lowest setting. This is the Samsung on its lowest setting. So different. Crazy different. And so like the OnePlus, I can use as a flashlight, even on the lowest settings, to like find something in the middle, like find my water in the middle of the night on my nightstand. I can use this. I can't use the Samsung. I've had like 2 nights with it now, and I can't use this as a nightlight unless I turn the brightness up. Which is the desired behavior for me, because I want to not have to change my behavior just because the person sleeping next to me wants to actually go to sleep. And that sounds like that's such a first world problem. I get it. It's ridiculous. It's also not a good habit to have in general. Regardless, I love it. I kind of like it matters to me. Probably shouldn't, but it does. It matters to me a lot, and I think that it's really great. I didn't know that it was going to earn me as many points personally as it does, but it does. So yeah, so that's really great. So overall, those are kind of the big things. Oh, the last thing that I've seen people mention being a big consideration for themselves when they're trying to decide if they want to order this phone, if they want to order the Plus, or if they want to order something else, is the size and the corners. The corners, I get kind of like you drop it and maybe you'll dent your floor, or maybe you'll dent the corners. That part is kind of a bummer. And I don't really have anything to say other than that's a little bit of, you either know that you want to deal with that or you don't. Fitting in the pocket though, and fitting into your hand. I have large hands for a woman. I have normal size palms and very long fingers. And so for me, this is a really good size phone. This fits my hand very well. I can do things with it one-handed. I can like reach over to here just fine. So that's fine for me, but if you have smaller hands, it might not be so fine for you. And then the other thing I've seen people complain about is it doesn't fit in your pocket very well. And I have to assume that most of those people are men or male presenting people, or people who happen to wear clothes that are marketed towards men, because I have not had pants that fit my phone since I had like a Nokia. Back when I had like that little Nokia with the faceplates, that would fit in my pocket. I've not had a phone that fits in my pocket since then. And so it doesn't make a difference to me. I'm sorry, my phone didn't fit before and it still doesn't fit. But if that's something for you, then someone else will have to comment on how well it fits into pants that are made to fit phones. But unfortunately, the world has decided that the pants that I like to wear shouldn't have pockets that fit anything, and the injustice of that just continues. So until someone changes the pants industry, I'm not going to worry about my phone size. So yeah, those are some things that I think would be helpful for someone who was trying to decide if they wanted to get this phone or not. If you have any other questions or things that you are wanting to know from a user, specifically from a non-sponsored user, Let me know in the comments and I'll either respond to you or I'll make another video. Just let me know what you're thinking and if you're trying to make your own purchasing decisions. Normally I do a lot of research before I buy something, but this time I was just like ready to upgrade. I needed a new phone and I was ready to take the plunge without really hearing any reviews from people. So if I can, pay back to people who usually create all of these reviews and helpful content for me when I'm trying to make my decision, and now I can do that for someone else, then I would love to do that. So, in summation, it's just another thing I didn't really need, but if you have any questions about it, or if you want any more insight on my user experience, let me know in the comments, and I hope that this was helpful.